Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Jason Tucker, and this is WPwatercooler, episode number 287. We don't have a topic today. We're just gonna shoot it. We're just gonna hang out, talk.
But we're vibing. We're vibing hardcore.
We're vibing. Yeah, exactly. We're talking about AirPods, and we're talking about microphones and headphones and all sorts of fun stuff like that. As most people do on podcasts, they just talk about all the things that they require in order to do a podcast.
Is that a majority?
So Russ, tell us about your microphone.
This episode is brought to you by WeWork. Trying to get us some placement stuff. So
nice. So Russ, tell folks who you are, and we'll get through our quick little 3 seconds worth of introductions real fast here.
I'm Russ. I live in Las Vegas, and I do things with WordPress. And I'm wearing my Minnesota State Fair T-shirt, even though it's kind of dark. I'm gonna fix lighting pretty soon. So yeah,
nice.
Yeah, you know what? We're all sitting here judging your lighting, Russ.
Well, we're judging your microphone, so we're even.
I was being sarcastic, but now I'm like, wait, you should judge.
So say, how big is that telephone booth that you're in over there at WeWork?
It's that big.
It's a telephone booth, dude. You were in an upright coffin. That is really weird.
There's the ceiling. There's your width. You can measure it. There's a little like gas lamp here. Like I'm like being lit by candlelight.
When does the water start filling up in the room?
There's a nice gray and faux leather seat bench.
Ooh, nice.
Very hip.
The exit is kind of like one of those magician boxes where like you have to fold yourself into the floor and then close it.
Right. Yeah, I'm wondering when the water starts rolling in.
Like shove yourself in like this. But I didn't say what my name was because we need to.
Yeah, tell us about yourself.
We have time today, so.
We have time today.
Ready yourselves for banter, folks.
Watch out. Here we go.
Let the banter fly. Who am I? Who am I? I'm Say Reed, and I make WordPress, teach WordPress, preach WordPress at Say Reed Media on all the things, and that still works for me for now.
Cool. Well, that's good to hear. It's good to hear. I'm Jason Tucker. You can find me over at Jason Tucker on Twitter. My website is jasontucker.blog. I do a whole bunch of stuff here on WPwatercooler. Feel free to go take a look at that. Go to WPwatercooler.com/subscribe, where you can learn how you can subscribe to this show and the other shows that we do on the network.
Cool. Do you just change like TLDs on your Jason Tucker dot whatever like periodic?
Yeah, I just keep changing it. It's gonna be .lino at some point.
Jason Tucker blog, Jason Tucker cat.
It's actually how you do podcast A/B testing. Is you just say Jason Tucker, JasonTucker.us, JasonTucker.org.
Oh yeah, that's actually smart. You have different.
I have .blog and .us. I have both of those.
That's both target marketing and A/B testing together because you can market the TLD to the certain groups. You know what I mean? And then
diamonds.
Then you can also test how they're coming in at you. I like it.
Yep. So JasonTucker.dentistry.
So last weekend I went to WordCamp Minneapolis.
Yeah, how was that, man?
So give us the deets.
That place is amazing. First of all, I love WordCamp Minneapolis. The speaker sponsor dinner went down at Modern Tribe, and I've never been to their offices before. Fun fact, they have a bar right next door. So they provided drinks, and it was great.
They won Russ over real fast.
Well, actually, so they had drink tickets for all the speakers, and when I got there at 7:15, all the tickets were gone. So, like, drinks went by pretty quick, but it was a fun event. And then WordCamp was great. Everybody wrote their names on their own badges. So, like, you got a badge, and they gave you a battery pack, but then, like, you got I say graffiti, but you got to draw your name on your badge, which is pretty cool.
So, were people, like, decorating their badges and illustrating them?
So yeah, you could illustrate them, and like they had stickers and stuff. Like, and it was kind of hard because I was like, "Your name is what?" Like,
but it sounds like they didn't want to print it, and so they made it into a feature, and they sold it as a feature. It's always good to sell things as features that you don't want to do yourself.
It was very interesting.
With real stickers, like IRL Instagram story.
Right.
No, it was like reading somebody's Instagram bio, and like it was like, "Hi, I'm Russell," emoji. "Hi, do this," emoji, but like with stickers. Like that's what it was.
That's cool.
But so their venue was in this place called McNamara Hall, and like I have pictures online, and we'll post them somewhere. But like this hall was incredible, man. And
what does that mean, a hall?
It was called a hall. I mean, it looked like a big, it looked like a big pyramid kind of thing, but apparently, you know, like it had a hallway, so they call it a hall. But like it was gorgeous. Like this place was decorated like to the nines. It was completely adorable. But like they had wood paneling everywhere. And like, have you ever been to like the Grand Canyon Hotel at Disneyland? Like when you walk in and like that huge lodge.
Jason probably definitely has been there.
Jason probably goes there once a day. Like
of the people in this call, the person that would have gone there, Jason.
But so it kind of looks like that layout, man. Like it was just cool. Like, and all the speaker rooms were just big, and like everybody was engaged. A very, very, very fun camp, and it was around the Minnesota State Fair time, so we all left WordCamp and went to the State Fair.
That
awesome. Awesome.
Yeah,
that's a bonus.
And that's what you did last week.
Fair like? I know that's off topic, but
yeah,
Minnesota. What was the fair like?
The fair is nuts.
Did you eat fried Oreos and fried butter sticks?
Dude, I had a fried Snickers, I had a fried Oreo, I had a fried Milky Way, and I had a fried Reese's.
Wow.
And then,
so are you pregnant or?
Oh, let's not even talk about that, because like that's a whole separate ride what she had. We had so much fun though. But so like WordCamp was great. I walked around with the sign, so I've never seen anybody do this before. Like I advertised for myself. I went to I went to Walgreens, and for like $2, I got a big white sheet, like a big sign, kind of you do for like a class project. And I said, let's talk about voice blogging. And then I put the time that I speak, and I put the room, and then I decorated it with like emojis and stuff. And like I just walked around camp.
You're your own hype man.
And like during lunch, I just like I took one of my GoDaddy bottles and I put my sign up against it, and I was just like free advertising. I looked like one of the sponsor booths, but like very poor and cheaply done. But like
it's actually I think there's an actual suitcasing is the word for if you are advertising without, but I don't think it counts the same way if you are advertising a talk that you're doing at the camp. I think that's totally valid.
Can we call it briefcasing? Is that a thing?
I think we should call it
backpacking.
No, I don't know. It seems totally valid. Engagement.
Yeah, but so like I go to work.
People come up to you.
Yeah, so like I used to go to Warped Tour, and like they'd have somebody walk around, and they'd have a sign that said like The Offspring plays at 1:45 on the Monster stage, and I was like, that's kind of good advertising. You just have someone walking around the crowd and advertising, and I was like, I'll do that. And I walked around every room, and yeah, it was fun. And people would be like, next time
you go, you just need to get a little attachment for like your backpack that's like this, and it like blows. Maybe it's a USB port, and it's like that little wavy guy that's in front of like
oh dude,
gas station.
Oh, that would be fun.
Your backpack.
You can cosplay as one of those guys. That would be awesome.
Could you rent one of those and just bring it to WordCamp and plug it in, and then just like it's waving, and then people are like, "What's this?" It'd be like, "Come into my talk."
I love that. That's amazing.
So like one thing that I've always struggled with is like I feel like when I go to WordCamp and I talk about something, I want to be upping my own game. So like I always try to talk about something new, but then like I looked and like I was up against a talk about Gutenberg, and I was like, well, that's gonna suck because that's a big thing, and so like that's obviously gonna be, you know, like where the majority of the group goes. And then there was another one called Back to the Future, which was like, you know, really interesting. I kind of wanted to go to that one too, but I was like, how am I going to get butts in chairs? How is this going to happen? And I was just like,
voice blogging.
Yeah. I was like, I'm just going to be myself. I'm going to advertise. And, you know, worst case scenario is I get 3 people.
How'd it go? What was your ROI?
I mean, every chair, but like 2 was filled. So it was pretty good.
But okay, so when you're walking around with the sign, were people coming up to you or what?
So yes and no, but mostly yes. So like I would stand there outside the room. So like when one talk got out, I'd go outside one room and I'd stand there, and it's like someone would be like, "Oh, what's that?" And like we'd talk. Or like during lunch, during lunch they had like one long line where everybody, like, I just stood there at the end next to like the desserts. So like no matter what, by the end of lunch, like you had to see me. Like you're not gonna pass up dessert. And I was like,
totally staked out the dessert. You're like high visibility IRL marketing.
It's prime real estate, man. Like if I was an ad, I was in the header, and like I was just there.
People don't market their talks. Like I know. That's not a thing that happens. There's not like come to my talk. I mean, I guess they do on Twitter. They're like, I'm gonna be talking about this, whatever.
All I'm saying is that nobody there, like I saw, was like on their phones or on Twitter or like, you know, like there wasn't a huge thing going on for the camp. And I was like, they're standing right in front of me. I'm going to tweet and hope this works. Or I could just be like, hey, you know, stand there like John Cusack in the rain with my boombox and be like, you know, I love you. Like,
next time, can you please take a boombox and just write that on your sign? Because
yes.
I'd Instagram that.
But do you just hold up the sign that just says boombox? It doesn't actually look like one. It just says boombox, and you just walk around with it like this.
Yes.
You guys, there's a really important looking meeting like happening in the office that's across the hall from this. It's making me very anxious. I just want you to know. I'm like, what are they talking about?
They're probably talking about some startup that's not going to matter in 20 minutes.
I don't know. Right. This thing that is like this whole glass walls thing is really weird. Like,
is it?
Yeah, I couldn't.
In, like, glass bubbles. I'm like, it makes me feel very strange. I feel like I'm eavesdropping on everybody. I saw the Gutenberg flag, like the prompt on someone's screen. I was walking past and I was all, better install Gutenberg. They were like, what? I was like, never mind, just kidding.
Don't click on it. I'm not responsible.
You should have walked by and be like, hey, did you get the 3.7 update? Or did you guys update that bad boy or what?
Oh my God.
Are you using WooCommerce? Because that's not compatible.
Oh my, that's funny, man.
It's just making me nervous. I don't know if they can hear me.
Well, we can fix that.
This is my personal location issues. So wait, I want to talk about voice blogging for a second. Can you, like, what was your talk about? I'm kind of interested.
So my blog is about random stuff. Like I don't blog about like the top 5 fashion trends, or like I just have a blog because like when I think about things, the only way to get them out of my head is to write a blog post about it. So like I take my dog for a 20-minute walk in the morning and I just brainstorm ideas. I'm like, hey, I heard this funny joke. How can I turn that into a blog post? Or like I have a funny thing about pockets. Let's brainstorm about that. So like I come up with an idea and then I take my dog on another walk around lunchtime, and then I start making up stories, right? So like I come up with crazy things, and then at the end of the day, I have about an hour, like kind of what Jason does with his dog is I just take him for a long walk. And so I plug my headphones into my phone and I just open up Google Keep and I turn on the microphone and I just start talking into my phone and I write my blog post.
Google keep dropping you? Like when I use it, it like basically like records chunks.
No, that's on the iPhone. On Android, it just works, but on the iPhone, you have to. It stops and starts over and over again.
It does time out. Like if you don't use it for a few minutes, it will stop the microphone process.
Oh no! On an iPhone, like you're using it, and within like I don't know 5 seconds, it just stops, and you're like, oh, let me push it again, and you have to go through the whole thing again of doing it.
Yeah, no way. On an Android, it's awesome. But so like I open up Google Keep. And like I just start talking, and I mean like when I write blog posts about WordPress, like I'm writing about something that I know, like right now too. Like instead of typing exactly what I'm saying as I'm on WaterCooler right now, like what if you could just voice blog it, and in 10 minutes I can write 1,500 words, which is pretty awesome. Versus like sitting in front of a computer and I get my hands on home row and I got to make sure I'm ready to go. Like I don't like to actually type anymore. So I voice blog, and it's a way for me to, when I tell a story, I get excited. Like we've been to WordCamps together. You've seen me drink. You've seen me get all crazy and excited. Like I tell my blog posts the same way, and hopefully they read that way instead of like sitting down and trying to hit all my SEO keywords. I just want to get the meat of my story on paper or on a digital platform, and then copy and paste over to WordPress, and then I'll make my edits and do stuff there.
That's cool.
So what's the workaround for folks like me who have?
So what I do, I use an app on the iPhone called Drafts, and Drafts' whole thing is they call it where text starts. So when you use Drafts, you use this as a place to put all your thoughts down before you turn it into a text message or before you turn it into an email. So there's no like two box
things like.
Yeah, and there's no to box, there's no nothing like that. So you're just putting in text, but it has a really cool thing on there where you can push it to tell it to hit record, and it'll actually do the dictation on the fly as you're doing it, but it's doing better processing than what Siri normally does by itself.
And it stays on longer?
Yeah, it stays on indefinitely. So when I do my, like I do what Russ does, where if I'm driving
internet prepare thyself.
So when I'm driving for Lyft, and I get some crazy person that gets in my car, I'll after I drop them off, I usually pull off to the side of the road and I'll hit the drafts button and I'll record a thing that's like, yep. So I'll say like, man, that person was crazy. This and this happened, blah, 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 whatever. And then it becomes text that I can actually use later. And then later on, I'll edit it.
Wait a minute, because I've had you pick me up in Lyft before. So how many notes do you have of me? No. So I'll tell you the hardest part about voice blogging is so you just said the word drafts. Yeah. And so like you have to enunciate your words because it might spell the word draft. Or it might spell giraffe like the animal. So like you have to be precise with your words. Like another one is R, A-R-E or O-U-R. So, but like also, so you can say R or you can say hours, but then it might think you're saying H-O-U-R-S instead of O-U-R-S. So like voice blogging kind of sucks in that way.
Hashtag first world problems.
It's totally a first world problem. But like for the most...
My speech recognition software doesn't differentiate between hours and hours. It's really frustrating. And I have to go delete the H.
How does it just like not know what I'm trying to say, But like for the most part with Google Keep, like it will try to read the sentence and like use machine learning and be like, oh, it probably should use this word and not this word. But like it's just those like weather and weather. Like, it might use the right weather, it might use the wrong weather. Like
what this reminds me of?
What's that?
I was thinking about yesterday, plugins. I was looking at coming soon plugins, and they all are named the exact same thing. And it's like so frustrating because they all have the same name, but they all do different things. They all are like different, whatever. And they're like all like
they all say easy coming soon, and I'm like that was not easy.
That's every single one. Like literally, coming soon programs was pretty funny. Like, and I was looking at it, and it was like. I was thinking about that. Like, how is a user differentiating between these?
Last Wednesday, I was looking at coming soon plugins, and I said the same thing. Because so, like, I used to use Ultimate Coming Soon because that was one of my favorite ones, and like, apparently that got bought or that got sold to somebody else. So now I have to use another one called Easy Coming Soon, and like,
that sounds weird.
I had to choose like my template and I had to choose all this other stuff. And then like, if you didn't put text in the field, it put its own default text and it's not what I wanted my coming soon page to say. Like it was a nightmare. Like I almost just like made my own Gutenberg page. Like I was that frustrated with it.
Well, and right now you're having to check, we have to have with an eye for future compatibility. You are having to be like, okay, is this a developed enough plugin that it's probably going to get the Gutenberg treatment, or was it updated like, 3 days? You really have to pay attention to that right now.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's making every choice a little scary. I've gotten some feedback from some of the people who have taken the switched over.
WordPress plugins to me have always been a little scary just because like I don't know like if I hit activate how many tables are going to get installed in my database, kind of like a WooCommerce kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. But then thinking about that too. I'm like, how many empty useless tables am I creating forever?
Not only that, but like if I delete this thing, like are those tables going to stay? And like is there an option that I'm not checking to say like delete upon? Like there's so many places to go and see. Like I kind of feel like every plugin has its own sub options, and I'm like, I'm missing all of them, and then I feel excluded from my own website.
Oh, dude, the options table alone has ridiculous amounts of just cruft that's just laying around in there from playing around with different plugins and stuff.
That's
yeah,
why
it's one thing to have tables that you can actually delete the table if you know you need to get rid of it.
You know what I had to do? Remember how I was talking about cleaning that website?
Yeah.
Last week? Because of the way the entries, so this was a Gravity Forms entries based content that I was moving. So there were a lot of steps because Gravity Forms doesn't natively move its entries. It'll take them out, but it won't put them in. So there were these other issues. But basically,
melts in your mouth, not in your hand. That's what it kind of sounded like you were saying.
Basically that.
Right, go ahead.
But they Gravity Views has a great, or View has a great plugin called Import Entries, but there were some issues that were happening, and so I was, going back and forth with them. They were great, just shout out. But basically, I had to go into the database because of the way the Gravity Forms was holding the data for these particular entries. Like it was a upload image field. It was uploading them as text. And so I had to go in. I couldn't modify it. It's not even like text. It was very weird. I had to go in and modify it manually and change the path of all the images to all of the database.
Wow.
Did you use like the CLI on that bad boy or something?
I'm not really great at scripts. It's too it's more work than it's worth for me.
Better Search Replace. That's a plugin, man. That I am the biggest fan of. It's a Delicious Brains plugin, but yeah, Better Search Replace.
Better Search and Replace. What's that one?
Better Search Replace.
In database search and replace?
No, it's just called Better Search Replace.
No, I know, but is it working in the database?
Yeah. So what you do is like you put specifically what you want and then specifically what you want to change it to, and then you can even do a dry run, and then you can even select the tables that you want to look in. It
was all messed up because it had the which probably would have worked now that I think about it if I had thought about that, but they had all the what are those things called? Like when you have a web address and you have to have the other
a backslash versus a front slash?
What?
A backslash versus a front slash? You were escaping them?
Yeah, escaping them. That's what I was trying to say. It was all escaped out and whatever, so it wasn't tracking like that.
Well, that's where you could get into regular expression.
And this is like, I was just talking about this too. I was talking about technology and technology, and how it's so frustrating sometimes when you get going in a business or get going in what you're doing, and you're doing all the things that you're doing and you know how to do, and then there's all this new stuff that's happening, and you're like, I want to know that too. And then, Matt's over there like, learn JavaScript. And then everyone's like, no, learn this other thing. And you're like, hey, I'm learning all the things. Put it all in there. But then you don't use it, and you're like, yeah, I kind of know how to do that. We're good. And then you're like, 2 years later, you're like, shoot. Anyway, that's how I feel about tech right now.
Welcome to my world.
Long story about that. And then it's like, did you hear about all of the latest social media plugins? And you're like, anyway.
Yeah. I feel the same way. It's like, did you learn React, and did you learn this new thing called Vue, and did you download the new Snapchat filter, and did you have this new thing for Word? Oh, by the way, did you hear Chrome got an update? Did you switch over HTTPS? Are you using IPv6 or IPv4?
Here's a touch bar.
Yeah.
Update your phone interface. Okay.
And
this is us. I feel so bad for just consumers that are just like, everything's just shifting all the time, and no one has any concern for users. And
here's what it is, okay? Is if I'm the guy that's just developing the touch bar, my life is just touch bar. So I'm pushing updates every 5 minutes because I'm just a touch bar guy. But like you said, as a consumer, you have this touch bar and you're just like, I don't even know what to do anymore. Like this guy who I don't know is halfway across the world, being a nerd.
He's obsessed.
He's obsessed. And I'm just like, dude, chill for a minute. Let me learn HTML, and then we'll work on HTML2 and then 3. I'll get to 5 eventually.
It's faster than that. I do talks every year and stuff, and it's like whenever I go in and I update all my slides. I'm doing a big talk next week, and I'm updating all my slides and everything, and I'm like, man, I feel bad. How do people keep up?
I got rid of slides.
Okay. That's how you
don't.
You're just like, screw it.
No, I'm like, okay, for 40 minutes, I'm going to talk about voice blogging, but like, I feel like I'm entertaining enough that I don't need slides. And like, it's more annoying where I'm like, hold on. And I have to go over and hit the arrow or like hit the space to like move my slide, like, or I have to have this pointer. Like, it's just not for me. So like when you're doing slides, like, are you trying to time your slides to your talk? And then like, do you practice them? Like,
are you asking
a
question, or is that rhetorical? I didn't know.
I would just hook up a Chromecast or an Apple TV or something
screenshots
to the thing, and I would just crowdsource it. I would just tell everybody in the crowd, like, "Hey, connect to this Apple TV and display something on the screen, and I'll talk about it for 15 minutes."
I want to do that so bad, but then the problem is like when you go to a WordCamp, like you're on the University of Minnesota's Wi-Fi, so you have to join the network, and like there's some dude who's like the IT guy who's not going to let you join your Chromecast. But I would love to do that, man.
That would be fun. It would be so much fun.
Wait, so that's basically just like a live pitch deck kind of deal, right?
Yeah, you just like, all right, show me your thing, and whatever you want to show up here, and then I'll just sit here and talk about it for 15 minutes.
We could do.
You're secure in your knowledge. You're like, whatever. Just ask. It's like a constant AMA. Like,
right.
You're just like, whatever. Just bring it.
We could do that at the Innovation Center, like where we hold our meetups. Like they have an Apple TV in each room, and like anybody could just connect to it and kick the next person off. And like we could do that. That would be so much fun.
It's like it's like battle FAQ or even FAQ, like just like battle question.
It's kind of like it's kind of like when you deactivate all your plugins and then you activate them all. It's like, which screen is it going to take you to first? Like, does Jetpack win? Does Custom Metabox win? Does Gutenberg win? I always like playing that game.
Who's gonna win?
Usually, Advanced Custom Fields wins all the time.
Yeah, I don't even.
So, do you guys have the Touch Bar MacBook?
Nope.
Neither one of you do? I was going to share with you my favorite. I was going to share with you my favorite thing that I do with the Touch Bar.
I still want to know.
Wait, you're going to tell us the favorite thing you do with your Touch Bar?
Yeah, exactly. So there's an app out there called Night Touch Bar 2000, and no joke, it's the kit car light that goes across, and it just does that nonstop on there. It's so cool.
Like the kit, like the
Knight Rider.
Knight Rider? Yeah. Oh wow, but it doesn't actually talk to you.
No, but it just goes back and forth.
Wow, that's not distracting.
No, not at all.
People in the office next to me are like doing some crazy like chair switching.
You are not made for this environment, Say. I just want to tell you.
It's really
you're gonna be the only person that walks into that phone booth and then looks the other direction instead of looks out the window.
If I did that, you would be all seeing them.
You need a dunce cap. We'll get you one of those dunce caps, and you'll just sit in the corner, and then you'll just sit there and do your work.
I can't. I need blinders like a horse. Just looking at you guys. I see nothing else.
Oh, my goodness.
There's no whole rooms of people over there. Anyway, we should promo our next episode.
Yeah. So next episode... Yeah, next episode is gonna be fun. So if you remember a couple episodes back, we talked about forking WordPress and the idea of taking the WordPress project and forking it, coming up with your own thing to do with it. And so we're gonna be talking with a guy who he did this thing called Classic Press. And so we're gonna talk with him about how Classic Press is working and how he's going to live the not Gutenberg lifestyle and see how that whole thing works. So it's gonna be really interesting.
They're never Gutenbergers.
So
never Gutenbergers.
That's what it is. Never Gutenberg.
Is this like WordPress's version of cutting the cord?
Right.
I hope that.
I mean,
I'm interested to talk about it next week. I hope I can join. I'll be flying, so I'll be on an airplane. So that'll be fun. I'm just gonna be like, hey, calls in from random places.
Awesome. So that's what we're going to be talking about next week. So feel free to come hang out with us over on WPwatercooler. I would appreciate that. And if you're interested in subscribing to this stuff, WPwatercooler.com/subscribe. Lastly, just to let you know, Russ redesigned his website. I don't know if you guys have seen this, but Russ's website is essentially powered by WaterCooler. And so if you go over to his website at russelnv.com, his site has all of the videos from all of the water coolers that he's been on. So, you know, not to say that Say Read Media needs to have this done, but it's looking pretty good. It's looking pretty good over there.
Last year.
So like
that's real. That's real. I'm just keeping it real.
No, I'm just joking with you.
I'm really big into this like self-promotion kind of thing right now. And so like, you know, it's all about me, and especially on my own website. So I was like, what else could I advertise?
That's awesome, man. Well, I appreciate that. Thank you very much. So make sure you go to his website and go take a look at it. And yeah, talk to y'all later. Bye.
Peace.